So Kazimierz the Restorer decided to invite Benedictine monks for them to bring in some civilization. Really, this was the idea, honestly, behind all of that. Bring civilization. And of course, these were also still very difficult times, so he needed to give them a very good, well-located place. So he chose this place on the side of the Vistula River and on this cliff. And here, 1,000 years ago, the Benedictine monks settled, and over the course of centuries, they built this. Isn't this just amazing? Let me welcome you. My name is Zuzanna Waligura. I am a professional guide from Krakow, and today we are right outside Krakow, about a 20-minute of a drive away from Krakow. However, it feels like the most peaceful place on earth. Really, I love this place so much. I am actually, honestly, really genuinely excited to be here. We are going up there. We are going all the way up there. We will take a look everywhere around. It's just all about us just enjoying this amazing space. So the white limestones that you can see, these are medieval walls which have been rebuilt and rebuilt. So some of them might even be original from 1100s. For sure, a lot of that is from 1300s, and generally many of the old parts of this place that we will be talking about are from the 1300s, 14th century. But Kazimierz the Restorer invited the monks to come here in the year 1044. Since the year 1044, some monastery and some monks have been up on this rocky cliff. And there were a lot of different things that happened here, including even an earthquake. This rock fell off this cliff in the year 1786, exactly. This is when the earthquake was. And since 1786, it has been here in the water, right next to the original cliff that it used to be a part of. And it has not been moved or anything like that. And I find this very, very symbolic for this whole place, because here, really, this is just like going back in time. Even about 1,000 years, you can feel this peace here. And this is what I will try to also help you feel. And as we are going to walk along the river, and I will try to show you some beautiful views as we walk. Here you can see, of course, typical, plants for a riverbank. And also you can see a little reflection of the beautiful abbey in the water. Beautiful. But don't worry, you can see we are on the other way of the river. We are not going to swim, which is also something I would love to do. But there is this little ferry that is promised to take us to the other side. This is the Tyniec Abbey, where Benedictine monks have been living for over 1,000 years. And now we are going to take the ferry, which was a safe choice of mine, and we are going to go to the other side of the river. To możemy? All right, so we are entering. It's like to jest na prąd? Czy nie? Na benzynę? To jest na benzynę. Aha, okay, so no, this is not an electric. This is for petrol. Okay. The ticket for the ferry is 3 Polish zloty, Beata. I am investing some serious money here to make sure you have a nice experience. 3 Polish zloty, which is 75 American cents, something like that. We we are here on the other side of the Vistula river, the longest river in Poland, which is 1,004 kilometers long. This is what? About 800 miles, around 800 miles. And it is the longest river in Poland. It starts in the south, in the mountains, the Tatra Mountains, and then it ends in the north. It goes into the Baltic Sea. It's not one of the big European rivers. It's a strictly Polish river, starts only here, finishes here, and we have a very special love for this river. So this, what looks like a chapel, is actually just a gate into one of the gardens that the monks here still have. However, it's not as big as it used to be. We will be talking about it up on the top. So here there are some beautiful trees, which are linden trees. Oh, this is a sign that says that this is natural landmark. In fact, I think this is how we can translate it. Natural landmark, which means the state protects this tree, and even Benedictine monks cannot do whatever they want with this tree. First impression that I have to say is that I just can't believe that there is renovation here. When I was here at the training for guides in March, the guide was saying how proud they are that this is finally a renovated part after decades almost really of renovation, and yet we have a construction again. But firstly, I wanted to take you inside the cloister of the monastery. So here I have to enter the building and I have to talk to this lady about entering. So just a second for me to talk to them, and then we are going to still have some time to enjoy. Of course, also the view to the other side. We looked at the whole monastery from the other side of the river, so we will see where we were. We are going to go inside the church, which is here, and then inside the actual cloister of the monastery. We have the keys to the cloister, and we are going to go up there. The monks came here in the 1040s. They got this land on the top of the cliff, but they needed to get drinking water from somewhere. And this is a rocky cliff, you all saw it. So in order to get the water, they had to dig a well through the whole rock down to even below the level of the river. And this is where they would get the water from. Now I can see already the well is closed. Sometimes, or maybe this was really just for guides training that they opened it, and we could kind of see it goes really, really, really deep below. But let's first take a look at the actual cloister, and we can then talk about the life in the monastery and what it was like in the old ages and how, if it's different today. And now, before we go inside, let me just show you this beautiful picture. I love this picture. These are our monks, and the picture is from, I think, maybe 5-6 years ago, something like that. So these are our Benedictine monks who live here right now. The oldest monk and a very big celebrity here is Mr. Father Leon. Here you can see him. Father Leon, even for some time he had a YouTube channel, and he was giving, you know, some advice from the real old monk. So that was very valuable, of course. So you can see Father Leon, who I think is close to 100, maybe even over 100 years old already. But you can see also young gentlemen here, a lot of young gentlemen who keep joining this congregation. So this is what I said before we enter. This is the unique thing about this monastery, is not even the fact that it's 1,000 years old. It's the fact that, again, here now, we have a living and such a young and vivid congregation. Probably the school key, don't you think? This will be it. Wow, this is really cool. Okay, look, and here we are. We cannot hear her voice. We cannot hear anything besides the echo of my talking here in these walls and the steps as we stamp on this old ground. So this is the cloister. In every monastery that you visit, any Christian monastery at least, anywhere in the world, always the cloister is the heart of the place, because the cloister connects the monastery, the place where the monks live, with the holy place, with the church. Now here we are looking at the oldest wall here. This is an original wall from 1300s. Original wall from 1300s. The elements from 1100s have been found a little bit underground. 400-year-old stones. We will continue our walk down that way, but also here I want to show you this part. This was reconstructed in the 1700s. Really, with 2 little children that I have in my home, now I think like I went deaf, maybe because haven't heard such silence in years. So here you can see, these are more modern, which we can see, but take a look here. This is in the old entrance to the church. So these steps that you are looking for at here, whether they are from 1100s or 1300s, for hundreds of years, the monks were using these steps to enter the church for their prayers. And the organization of the building complex that a monastery is the center is always the cloister. The cloister, which is really kind of like a square space with an empty green area inside. And then there are corridors that lead around. This is very easy to move around different parts of the monastery without going outside in case it rains or snows or whatever. The monks don't really have to leave the buildings as such at all, because they have this type of construction. This was invented in medieval times by Benedictine monks, and really pretty much all monasteries are built in such a way. It seems to be a perfect way. So for example, here at the end, there is a door to dormitories. Here on the other side, at the end, we are going to walk that way later. At the end, there will be another door to the refectory, the place where the monks eat. But the most important place is the capitulary, which is a room here in the cloister where they meet together. for different reasons. And here we have the beautiful capitulary of our Tyniec Abbey. So whenever they need to meet for some reason all together and they need to decide or something, or they choose an abbot, or there is a new monk who will be joining, this is what happens here in this very room, and this is what has been happening in this very room since 1300s. Again, the room I just want to warn you that the church is has been redone in Baroque times. So this is going to be a lot of golden marble as for a 1,000-year-old church. This is the situation here in Poland. For me, unfortunately, I'm not a big fan of Baroque, honestly, so I'm not happy about this. But this is how it worked here, is that, you know, there were old churches like this. The construction is the Gothic construction from 1300s. Typical ceiling, typical windows, long windows, as in the Gothic. But then, in 1700s, Baroque was popular. So the monks and the priests all around Poland, they were like, hey, let's pay thousands and thousands and thousands of money for marble and for gold and for all of that. And they added this into the Gothic churches. There are people praying here, so I'm going to be leaving soon. Amazing. Actually, this is the first time I noticed that. Yes, this is the doorknob that leads in and out of the beautiful church of St. Peter and Paul. Then we have this wing of the monastery here that you are looking at in the center. This was originally the house of an abbot. The abbot, so like the prior of the Benedictine monastery, the abbot had his own part separate from everyone else. It was like that in the old times. However, nowadays, the abbot lives together with everyone else here in this part. Now here, this is the monastery. Behind this wall, there is the cloister. Yes, we walked around, so you know how it works. If we were able to take a look, if we had a drone, and we would fly over the roof, you would see that this is like a square, empty in the middle. I showed you there is a little garden in the middle, and then the monastery is really like a square made out of the buildings. This is where the monks have their own rooms, of course. Each of them has a separate room, or they still call it a cell. And they meet together in the refectory. They start their day at 5:30. 5:30 in the morning, an alarm clock rings, and every one of them has to get ready. And at 6 a.m. sharp, they pray together as a congregation. All 33 of them gather in the church where we just saw, and they pray the morning prayer, which is pretty short. So at 6, they pray together. Then at 6:30, they have breakfast together. It's not allowed for them to talk during breakfast. They eat breakfast together. Then they have time for work. I don't know if you noticed, but this is the motto of every Benedictine convent is ora et labora, work and pray, work and pray. So they have to work. And nowadays, they actually, they have a lot of work around here because they run a guest house. I'm going to tell you about the guest house in a second. They have a little bit of work in the gardens because they still have a herbarium, which is a herb garden. And they teach in schools. And this is pretty much it. And they do different jobs around here. They are the ones also that clean the monastery. So this is the kind of jobs that they do. And then 12:50, they meet for a 10-minute prayer together, again in the church. So the work is all organized around the prayer. So they cannot have a real 8-hour job, let's say, because 12:50 they have to be here in the church and pray. All 33 of them gather again to pray in the church at 12:50, and then they have dinner, and then again they have time for their own contemplation and for their own prayer, and then 5 p.m. they meet all together again. And this is the prayer that I wanted to take you to, and they didn't allow me. I'm so sad about this, really, because this is a beautiful prayer which you can look up online, or maybe this is what I can suggest even today. It's really a very deep spiritual experience to listen to them. And then later they still have time for prayer, and then they have supper. During the supper, there is one of the monks that reads some lectures out loud, and then they have to rest. They don't have an official curfew, but they have to remember that 5:30 a.m. there will be the alarm clock ringing again. And this is day to day, every single day is the same. Of course, on Sundays they don't work, but altogether they get 14 days off during the whole year. During the whole year, the monks get 14 days off. During that time, they can even go on holiday. They can go home. They can do whatever they want. 14 days, including all the weekends, no free weekends. 14 days throughout the whole year. So it's a very busy schedule that they are on. But apparently, this is, of course, what they seek. And what is interesting is that more and more people seem to be seeking this type of life, even just for a little bit. Because now here they are so popular that they have 2 guest houses here. One is here that I showed you. This is the old guest house that even right now, that people who come here for the guest house, somehow they are kind of included in the congregation. They can even help with some work, they can join for prayers and all of that. And here the building, which is again under construction, this is also the guest house. So if you ever feel like you need a break from 21st century, I cannot imagine a better place for that. Hopefully this view and this atmosphere from here will make your day, and will bring some peace into your day.